Welcome, I'm Rogers Anderson, and as we travel around the county, I'm going to reintroduce someone that most everyone knows, Laura Chavarria. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Laura is our director of our animal control, and most of you know her smiling face and her fashionable wardrobe that she always seems to have and dress up, and we are just crazy about Laura and the program she's put together and the change and the mindset, the complete mindset change of animal control and how things are done, not just in Williamson County, but I think you've helped our whole industry if you call animal control and adoption. And when we came here, it's one of the things we changed, put a different name on it, Laura.
We did. We try to change the public's perception of what we do and who we are. We want them to feel like we are a resource. They can come to us if they have any questions. We just want to get past that stigma that we are the dog pound, because we're no longer that at all.
So if there's people watching, and sometimes they like to know about our directors and our, how did you get involved in this, and kind of give us a little journey? I know you've done it before for us on television, but there's probably some folks out there watching and thinking, that'd be a good occupation to get into. It's long hours.
It is, but
it
it's very fulfilling. Very fulfilling. I started, I have a degree from Ohio State University in biology and animal sciences, so I knew I wanted to do something with animals. I come from a family that are doctors, so I thought maybe I'll be a vet. That sounds like fun, right? Blood and guts, that'll be fun. I just wasn't cut out for it. I like the more emotional side of it and less of the medical side of it. So my sophomore year of college, I started volunteering at my local shelter and just fell in love with it. There was nobody my age involved. I never really knew what happened at a shelter until I started volunteering, so I just really fell head over heels in love with it. So I knew that's what I wanted to do, but there's no, you can't, what's it called? You can't, I have a degree in biology, but
I don't
you
know
can't.
that I've ever heard you speechless.
I know, I can't come up with it. I couldn't major in shelter work, so I didn't know how to actually get into it. So I graduated in '04 from Ohio State, and I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee. Yay, Tennessee. And I actually started to do some animal testing, which sounds horrible. It's not as terrible as everybody thinks, but I tried to push myself into the medical field, and I was there for a year and just knew I wanted to go back to the shelter. So I got engaged, moved to Florida, and I said, I'm just going to start from the ground up. I'm going to get involved. So I applied at the local animal shelter and started as a kennel tech. Was a kennel technician for 6 months, got promoted to kennel manager, was that for 6 months, and then I got promoted to animal control officer. I was that for 2 years. Then I got promoted to office manager. So I did almost every position at the shelter and really loved it. And we were lucky enough to move up here, and this position was available. And, I was very honored to be interviewed twice, which was scary. But I love my job. I love coming to work every day. I love the people that I meet, and I love the animals that I meet, but the people just as much.
And I know the show's about what you do as a career, but you're also, I would suspect, an outstanding young mother.
I am. I wear a lot of hats, and I don't sleep a lot, but I have 2 kids. Bronson is 3. He's a handful. I love him. And then I have a daughter who's 2. Her name's Marlo. So it's a zoo at my house, and I have 4 dogs, all pit bulls, and a black cat, and a husband. So it's a lot.
It's interesting you put the pit bulls ahead of the husband. We won't even go there with that conversation.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't watch this.
So let's talk about the changes that you've made here in Williamson County. Just in the very beginning, I know you came and said, I want to add another name to it. I want to put adoption on there. And let's define, or let's explain to people, there's a reason for animal control.
There is.
And the law says we have to do so many of the things we have to do. Our euthanism rate was outstandingly high, not something you wanted. We were trying and pushing to try to get into a new term called save rates, to try to save at least 3/4 to 100% of the animals that come through. But there's just certain situations that you can't.
Yes, there's a reality that not every animal can be saved. We are an open admission shelter, which means that we take in any stray or any owner surrender from a Williamson County resident. So somebody may surrender a 16-year-old lab that has cancer. That's not an adoptable dog. So we have to make those difficult decisions, but euthanasia is the very last path that we take. We try to come up with if we need to send an animal to rescue, if we need to send it to rehab. If it's adoptable, we'll invest in it.
So in those early days, I know that your dream was to help our reduce, do away with the term, go to a save rate. Let's fast forward to the end of December 2015, just about 90 days ago. What's our save rate approximately?
95.4%. So when I started in 2013, it was about 75%. So we've increased by 20%, which has been amazing. And it's because of the support from you, from the commission, the community really buying into the programs and services that we provide. Our adoptions have increased, our volunteers have increased, our fosters have increased. I don't do this job by myself. It's a team of 25 people, volunteers, there's over 300. It's really because the community values animals.
So when people come in to your facility, which we want to talk about our facility toward a little bit further into the show and the need for a new facility, but let's talk a little bit about where some of the, not the fostering, because most of that is in the Middle Tennessee area, but our adoptions, where do they wind up, and why is our adoption program so aggressive, and why is it so successful?
I think we're aggressive because that's really what makes all the difference in the world. If we can't get animals out the front door into loving forever homes, then we're not doing our job. And every day is different. One day we could take in 50 dogs, the next day we could take in 2. So if we take in that higher amount of 50, we got to figure out a way to really get them out the front door. So we are super aggressive. We market on social media. We have a new website. We have dogs and cats that have been adopted from our agency all around the world. Hawaii, Maine, Texas, Middle Tennessee. Obviously, we love to adopt them out locally because then we can visit them and check up on them. But we, on social media, really push. And we have people that come out and they love that we're so positive. They feel like they're doing a good thing and they're helping out a good agency. So I think really feeding into that positive momentum and positive vibe, people really like that.
So about 3 weeks ago, if I remember correctly, there was a Super Bowl.
Yes.
And I also remember a quarterback that retired just recently, but prior to the Super Bowl, there was a Puppy Bowl.
Yes, it's the second year that we participated in the Puppy Bowl. And a lot of people don't know what the Puppy Bowl is, which is weird because I look forward to the Puppy Bowl and not so much Super Bowl. But the Puppy Bowl airs on Animal Planet, and it's just filming of puppies wrestling and playing football, and it's really cute. It's a whole bunch of shelters from the United States that participate, and we are lucky enough that we've done it 2 years in a row. And it's just a great platform to work with professionals in this career and really get our animals into great homes.
And it's interesting to me as people watch this show say, well, should tax dollars be going to spend to send Laura up there? Well, other than your time, which is important, but you give of your time, you take away from your personal family, that's all paid for by someone else. Our donations, the way that this community responds and helping out, not just in personally writing the checks, but in doing so many more, it's incredible to me that we can go up there and get you back, and it really is no dollars and cents out of the coffers.
That trip wasn't paid by any tax dollars. It was fully funded by Mars, which is amazing. Again, the community stepping up, and that was just a huge platform to be able to show how great our county is.
Well, Mars has been a wonderful corporate sponsor that moved in here several years ago, and the one that most people think about is where they went down to Thompson Station. But prior to Thompson Station, they had a corporate presence. They came in at Cool Springs, and they've just been wonderful to work with, and I'm sure we're fortunate they're in our community, but a lot of it is the programs that you offer. It hits those time bales that they're looking for also.
Right, it's mutually beneficial.
You mentioned volunteers. I'm sure you've got too many. You don't need any more.
Oh no, we can always take more. We have over 300 active volunteers. We could use another 300. They do anything from walking dogs to brushing cats to adoption counseling. Yesterday we had a downpour right at 4, and our volunteers were soaked, but our dogs were getting walked, and I was walking through the kennels, and just to see all of the volunteers wet and committed and happy and bonding, it makes the job worthwhile, and we really value our volunteers. We couldn't do what we do without them.
if someone wants to volunteer, I won't miss an opportunity to give you an opportunity to
They can email me, which is laurac@williamson-tn.org, or they can call me at 615-790-5589. We don't turn anybody away.
And for young people, when I go out there, which isn't every week, there's a large segment of your people that come out there to volunteer are not just gray-headed like myself, but younger people.
They are. We are right next to Franklin High School, so we are really lucky to have a lot of high school students. Franklin High School has an animal club, and so they come over and they volunteer, and it's really great to see responsible pet ownership to be started at a young age. And these people value animals. They're energetic. They're running circles around me. They're coming up with ideas. And then we have, retired folks that come in every morning at 7 o'clock in the morning and walk the dogs that the high schoolers can't do. So it's just, we have all walks of life, all ages. We welcome anybody that's over the age of 14.
Recently on the news, there was a bad incident in Davidson County in which 2 or 3 gentlemen were arrested, and they were found to have fighting dogs.
Yes.
And those animals, several of them, wound up at Animal Control and Adoption Center.
Yes, we want to help out local shelters in addition to our shelter. We right now are in a position where we can help out other shelters. If we were at capacity, we wouldn't be able to. But right now, since it's it's March, it's a little slower for us right now. As soon as it hits April, we're going to be packed. But we were fortunate enough yesterday to go walk their floors and meet those dogs. And Metro was just packed from floor to ceiling with animals. And it's hard to look those animals in the eyes and just to say, look, we can't help you.
And it's even more of a reason that as we go down this road and we try to find a new animal control shelter area, that when our backs are against the wall, we know that they'll step in and help.
Absolutely.
Also. And so I applaud you for stepping in and helping. And it would be a lot easier not to do that and just run your day-to-day normal routine. But I think olive branching, reaching out to other facilities in a time of need sends a message loud and clear that Williamson County is dead serious about what they do.
Yes, it's not just about Williamson County, it's about Middle Tennessee. And I think a lot of times the shelters feel like they're in competition with each other, and I don't want that. We all have the same problems, we all have the same challenges. So if we have an issue in the field, I want to be able to have that mutual aid from Rutherford or Murray or Metro. So I think starting that relationship is really important.
I've said several times, people will ask, why don't the county just get out of animal control? Because it's an expense. Well, number one, we can't. The law says we are to be in it. And number two, look at it like public health and your private health care. Here at the administrative complex, we have a public health department that serves a variety of all zip codes in Williamson County, 37064 to 2769, all the zip codes are used in public health. And there's a reason that all of them can get along and work together, even with their private health care. And I think we can do that, and you've done a great job in our community working with our private pay people. Of course, one of my dearest friends is Dr. Charlie Beecham, and
Love him.
And he's other than being a Florida fan, he's a pretty good person.
He is. Him and Dr. Bush both.
They're both good people, but we've got to have that public-private partnership, and we need to call on them, and then they need to call on us also.
A great example of that is in the month of April, we have our rabies clinics throughout the county, and we couldn't do that without these vet clinics stepping up and actually doing the clinics. They pay for the product. They actually take their time. Dr. Beecham is doing 2 clinics where most vet clinics are doing 1, so he really stepped up, and we rely on them so much. We have a great relationship.
So in that crystal ball, we're trying to find a new animal control area, and it's a high priority. It's one that the commissioners, for the most part, know that you've got to have a new facility. Kind of talk to the people a little bit about what we're looking at, and it's all about finding a land that's available, that meets some criteria, And it's been a difficult chore over the last year.
It has. I know it's been a big priority for you, and I know you've been looking around. We need something that's on sewer, a lot of acreage. I would think, I don't even know if we've discussed acreage, 10 acres.
10 acres, 8 to 10 would be a minimum.
Centrally located in the county, and I think that's the part that's going to be the hardest, because we know that Williamson County is booming and growing, and that they're not making any more land. So we're really reaching out to folks that if they know of any land that fits that criteria, to contact us, because we're outgrowing our building. We need, I love our location right now. I love our grounds. If you haven't been out there, we have, a public dog park and we have walking trails. I would love to have that at the new location as well, but it's going to be tough. But I'm positive that with you and the commission that we'll be able to make it happen.
I think we'll find it, and we've been close on a couple of places, but sometimes they just don't meet in the zoning areas, and quite frankly, a lot of people don't want an animal control and adoption center in their community, so that we don't want to make anybody mad moving in. We just want to find a place that's convenient for everyone. And land in Franklin, Tennessee, number one, it's not cheap, and number two, it's not always available. More homes are going up on it. But we've got so many people willing to step up and help and volunteer. We're not asking you to give us the land. We're asking you to give it available so we can buy it.
Right, and we would be fantastic neighbors. I promise. We'd be fantastic a neighbor.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all.
I can mow, I can garden, whatever they need, I can do.
Well, I'm confident that we will find that, and it's a high priority. We'd like to see something. We're going to try to get this done in the next few months, but it's a difficult chore.
It is.
So let's talk about some of the other things that are going on out there that I know you're just proud about, that I probably overlooking, because I can't keep up with everything you're doing every day.
I know, it's like flying by the seat of our pants, but we have, a lot of people don't even know the services that we provide. So we have a full-time vet on staff and 2 full-time vet techs. So we do low cost to no cost spaying and neutering for the public if they fit certain criteria. We don't want to take business away from private vet clinics. We want to help folks out that can't afford to get their animals spayed and neutered. And we want to make sure that we're decreasing the amount of animals that we're taking in by spaying and neutering and getting rid of those unwanted litters. So that's one prong to our shelter, one service that we provide. We also do enforcement. You mentioned animal control. By state law, we are required to do rabies control. So we have officers in the field 24/7, 365 that go out and investigate animal cruelty. Any complaint you have, we investigate, within reason, obviously.
Let me interrupt you.
Sure.
I get a lot of phone calls, and people do not realize. So animal that's loose, a skunk or something, they will call and say, can you come out and capture or trap this skunk? And your answer is?
No, we may not. It depends on if it is injured or sick.
That's correct.
If it's showing signs of illness, if it's stumbling or foaming, or we will absolutely come out there and try to capture it. However, we only have 3 full-time officers. We have the entire county. We have emergency phone calls of assisting the police with drug raids, or assisting them with pulling over somebody that's drunk and has 3 pigeons in their car, which happened this week. Just crazy calls. Pigeons that were loose. They weren't even caged. They were loose in this gentleman's car. So that's a great example of something that takes priority over capturing a skunk that has no signs of rabies or distemper. So that is a change that we made within the last year. We'll still take them into the shelter. We are required by state law to euthanize them, but we ask that the citizens, they can rent a trap from us, and then they can bring in the trap skunk to us, and we'll be more than happy to euthanize it.
So I interrupted you, but I did want to get that out, because we do get folks from time to time that just do not believe we won't come out there. Of course, you have to realize we're a population of over 200,000 people, and we only got 3 to 5 people that really do this full time around the clock.
And the more people that move into this county, the more we're going to see skunks trying to get into people's homes. So they need to understand that 3 officers for the entire county is just, we're stretched really thin. And we want to make sure, for safety reasons, that we're responding to the officers' calls, the police officers, the sheriff's department, in a timely manner, because we expect that same thing in return when we need help.
Large animals?
We do large animals. We work closely with the state ag department, and if they're loose in a public safety concern, we will go out and try to capture them. We have wonderful property, thanks to you and Nancy Zion, where we can hold on to them until the owner hopefully comes to claim them.
We don't get many large animals, do we? Or to get more than I really realize?
Once a month, possibly. We had 5 ponies on 96 not that long ago. They were claimed by the owner. We've had goats, we've had potbelly pigs, you name it, we've had it. It's kind of a joy of this job. You never know what's going to come through the front door. But we do it. It's not, if there's a complaint about animal welfare, if they think that a member of livestock is being neglected, that falls under state ag. But if it's a public safety concern, if it's in the middle of the road, we do respond.
So as a pet owner, what do you tell people that adopt their animals or they purchase one from some reliable source? Lots been in the news lately about a dog that was in Texas and it winds up in Michigan, and I'm making those states up. But there was a time when we didn't identify, we didn't chip our dogs, and today it's almost unheard of if you don't.
Right, we're definitely pushing people to microchip their animals, which a microchip is the size of a grain of rice. It's a painless procedure. We just implant it in between the shoulder blades. And every vet clinic and animal shelter will scan with a wand every animal that comes through their doors. And if it has a chip, it'll pop up a number. You call that phone number, and it'll tell you the owner's information so that you can hopefully give the animal back. That's a good way to save taxpayer dollars. That way we're not holding on to animals that are owned. We can quickly return them to their owners. The owners are happy. We're not having to spend money on the care of the animal, so it's a win-win for everybody. On the other side of it, if it's an enforcement issue, if our officers go out and there's a dog that's mawing a goat, we scan it and it has a chip, we know what owner's responsible for that damage.
Cats?
Cats are microchipped. You can microchip horses, pigs, anything but a turtle, pretty much, you can microchip.
Anything but a turtle?
Yes. We're trying to take bets to see if a human will get microchipped, but I don't know if I'll see that in my lifetime.
If you could have a magic wand and you could wave it out there, what would you like to see changed besides having a new facility?
You knew that was going to be my number one. I think revisiting state laws. This week we met with Charles Sargent and other representatives of the state to try to get the new puppy law passed. And this is a law to regulate puppy mills in the state of Tennessee. There's 27 states in the United States that regulate puppy mills, and we are one state that does not have that law. So right now, puppy mills are not taxed. They're not regulated. So we see, quite frankly, a lot in the local level that we see animals that are coming from puppy mills that are unhealthy. We have consumers that are buying these puppies that are upset because they're buying an unhealthy pet. They're spending thousands of dollars to try to get it healthy. So if this law were to pass to regulate, the state would regulate puppy mills, it would save money on our end. You'd have happier consumers, and it would give credibility to those breeders. So I think it's mutually beneficial.
So what's the lack of the state of Tennessee getting into that, just to change a habit, or is it the rural population?
The rural population doesn't want to be regulated. It comes from that livestock farming mentality that animals are property. But I think of it as you're a business, you're breeding, you're making money. Just like any other business, they're regulated and they're taxed. So that's the way that I view it. It's in the Ag subcommittee first, so we have to get it out of that committee, and then it goes through 4 other committees until it hits the floor. So we have our work cut out for us. This is the 3rd year we're trying to get it passed, but I think changing our laws to make it safer for our citizens and the animals is just a win-win.
Other ideas? I know there's a lot of legislation on the hills about, I think it was 1,300 bills this last year. Not all of them animal control, thank goodness.
I wish there were. Just changing the laws. It's hard to ask for a lot more when I have so much support from you and the commission. It's nice to meet with the commissioners. Have been coming out ever since we had our open house, and since we're talking about a new facility, they're taking the time to come by and visit and see what our challenges are. So I didn't have that at my last job. I didn't have that support. So that's what's the nicest part of my job, is to know that you guys care about the services we provide. You believe in what we do. And so I don't have to wave my magic wand about that, and that's what I'm most thankful for.
It's kind of interesting. We had one of our county commissioners who was dear to my heart, been around Now, she's younger than I am, but she's been around a long time like I have, and Judy Hayes, and she retired, decided not to be a county commissioner, and she had to have some medical procedures on those old legs to get them going again. And I saw her the other day, she's doing just fine, and I worried about when she kind of left the commission, who would step up and be her advocacy. And quite frankly, you know, I think Dana has stepped up as much as anyone, but there's been others that have stepped up simultaneously and said, we love animals too.
Right.
Judy wasn't the only one.
I know, she was taking all the thunder, but we want to jump on board. So Kathy Danner has come and adopted from us. You know, Dana Osbrooks, you mentioned her, she volunteers. She went down to the Capitol with us this week and helped, you know, lobby. So I thought that was great that out of her busy schedule of being a lawyer and a commissioner, she bonded with my team. You know, she's a commissioner, but she got down to our level, and that was just really, really nice. Brian Bethard is another one. He brought in a stray cat to us, so I met his family. So just getting to know them, I welcome them to come out, meet me, come get a tour, come see the good, bad, and ugly, because it's there. But we're just an open book, being transparent, showing everybody what we're doing. We're proud of it. We're really proud of it.
So as you look across the state, and I know you're proud of how much has been accomplished here in Williamson County, but these same acclimates can be had all throughout the state of Tennessee. But I know in Middle Tennessee, mainly because of the press coverage, you're going to find out what's going on. But we often hear that other parts of our state aren't as aggressive in some of the things that we're doing here in town. And I think that is because of our clientele, our people that really demand more of you and me to be sure that our animals are taken care of, Laura.
They do. They keep me on point, and they have some really good ideas. I met with a citizen today that had some really good ideas on how we can expand our marketing. And so we are an open book. I don't claim to know everything, but we have some great citizens that really care about the animals.
And we've talked about the volunteers, and our time's about up. We've got about a minute left, and I know you've got some of the finest employees out there.
Thank you.
And I know you're proud of each and every one of them. But in the last minute that we've got, what have I overlooked that you want to get out?
I want to get out that there's always a way that somebody can help, whether it's donating money, donating time, donating their skills. Coming and just being an advocate for the shelter. If you don't think you can come and volunteer, because I understand that's emotional, then just come see what we do and then advocate to your friends and family to adopt, not to purchase an animal or to just get involved with their local shelter. Know what we do, know who we are, and be proud of your county agency.
You can see why the Williamson County Animal Control and Adoption Center has moved way up on the pecking order, and it's because of you and your leadership and your zealous desire to take care of their four-legged friends and two-legged, that they have a wonderful life here upon this earth. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for what you bring to our community. Good luck with being a young mom and doing all the things you do. And I'm Roger Sanderson. As we travel around the county, they don't get much better than Laura, but I'll see you around with somebody else. Have a good day.
Nothing will stand in our way. I will finish what you started.
You know the library has a Star Wars club. Have you seen The Force Awakens? Come and chat about it and the other movies in the series. Bonus, you can dress up as your favorite Star Wars character, play Star Wars games, and chat all about things Star Wars. Led by our teen Star Wars expert.